Hey guys, we are back here with the grave woman, Joelle Simone Anthony, here in Georgia. We're going to answer a viewer question. So we have 3 questions here from a viewer named Chris. So the first one says, odd question, but have you ever seen or had a request from a family member or friend of the family to put a flower or two on the actual casket itself, and then had the casket with the flowers lowered into the vault? Is this possible?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen millions
All
of
the
times.
time.
All the time.
All the time.
It's encouraged, really.
Yeah. I always, my one thing, years ago I saw somebody and had somebody tell me they put the flower on the casket, but they keep one of the petals and they like put it in their Bible. So it's this, I don't know, thing of nature that it's always one and the same, but each of you kind of have a part of it. And so I'll often tell families when they're laying flowers, hey, why don't you keep one of the petals and keep it to yourself, so that way, you know, you guys have a connection between you. But yeah, we do it all the time.
All
A
the
lot of
time.
times I think people will do the casket spray with that in mind, which is the piece that goes on the casket, so that they can pull roses and keep them, or place them, or they'll bring a vase of flowers. How do you feel about this? So I heard recently that some funeral directors were removing all those flowers before the burial after the family leaves. And they were doing it because it rots out. You know, that moisture will rot out a metal casket quicker. What do you think of that?
I think it shouldn't be done without the family's knowledge, and it's as simple as explaining to the family that this is why we're going to do this.
Okay.
I don't think it should be done without the family's knowledge.
I agree. Yeah, if the family believes those are going to be left there, they should be left. I get it. But it's also, I've talked before about flowers being put in the casket and that extra moisture
Definitely.
decomposing the body faster. Like, it is what it is almost. I guess it depends how you feel about what's happening later. I don't know.
Good question.
Yeah. Okay. I have talked with my mom about her wishes when she dies. This is right up your alley, Miss Preneed.
Yes.
She seems to only want a private viewing for the family and graveside services. Are there more questions or a list of questions I can ask her of what her wishes are when she dies, or what she wants and what the funeral home would ask? We know the casket, she wants to be embalmed, and her plot and marker are all set. Are there more questions that are standard?
Definitely. The first thing that came to mind was cemetery property, but they said that that's all set.
Yes.
What does she want to wear? Is there a certain way she wants her hair styled? What does she want her makeup to look like? When you say friends and family private viewing, who does that include?
That's a great question.
Well, the saddest thing is my microphone failed while I was doing my interview with Joelle. So I'm going to complete and answer the rest of the questions for Christopher, sadly. So we were talking about what questions he can ask his mom, and Joelle was saying, you know, what do you want that service to look like? And so we said, you know, what is it that is not acceptable? Maybe would be a good answer. What do you really want us not to do at your service? But what would be okay to include? You know, do you want people to just gather? Do you want us to have a party? What would that look like to you if you do not want us to have anything? So I think that was a big part. You know the casket, you know she wants to be embalmed, you know her cemetery. Ask her all of her biographical information to get down on paper. You know, you might not know some of the information about your mom, what hobbies she had when she was younger. Talk through her life with her. Get to know your mom in a new level from when they were younger. I still remember talking to a family, and they had brought the woman's sister with, and she talked about how when the deceased was young, she used to love to roller skate, and her kids had never known that. So they got to learn something about her that they never knew. So maybe have those discussions with your mom so you can get to know her for an obituary, or for a eulogy, or just to share stories about her. So I think that's a great question to know. I myself, who am still young, know I want to have a greener option for my death. However, would it be possible for an embalmer to drain a body of all blood, but not put embalming fluid in the body and do a direct burial after? I don't want to be pumped full of fluids and stuff, but I want to make sure I'm dead. I think this question's great. So we had answered it, Joelle and I, when we were together, but reading it, we both were a little like, never had anybody actually ask that. And to be stumped by a question, not stumped, but to be surprised by a new question at this stage is awesome. I tell you guys that all the time. But so I think in this situation, you can't get the blood out without pushing something into the system to make the blood flow out. So you essentially would do a 100% water embalming, where you would push water in only into the system to force that blood out. So it would be possible. It would be a reverse waterless. It would be full-on water embalming, I guess you would call it. But that would achieve what it is you're asking for. I know that right now what I'm thinking I would want was, it would be maybe like a green burial, but I would want you to keep my family to keep my body around to be super extra stinky, just to make sure I'm dead. So, you know, you can ensure that you're dead in a number of ways, I guess. But doing that full-on water exchange of fluids would definitely be an interesting way to do it. So thanks again to Joelle for joining me in the initial session. Darn my microphone that gave up on us and didn't give me a red light that the battery was dying or whatever was happening. But keep your questions coming. Send them on over. Maybe I'll meet up with Joelle on Zoom and we'll do another question and answer session for you for some submitted questions. Thanks for joining. Go check out her channel over at The Grave Woman, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.